Hi everyone, welcome to today's webinar, The Rural Women's Revolution, how to have your voice heard and empower other rural women globally. It's so exciting to see so many of you here today, and some of the names I know and some I don't, so welcome everyone. Some of you will have joined the webinar today because you were curious to know what all the fuss is about this new online global platform for rural women, and you wanted to find out more either out of curiosity or out of a desire to maybe get involved. Others will be joining because you already know about it, you've said you want to be part of it, but you just want a bit more information. Both are awesome reasons to be here, and I'm really excited to have the opportunity to share with you more details about the platform, the movement, and how you might be part of it. So, being part of a revolution sounds big, doesn't it? Big and scary and time consuming and comes with a lot of potential unknowns. So let me just allay your fears. It's not. It's simple. And the philosophy behind any great revolution is each person contributing their small part builds the momentum to change. So why wouldn't you get involved? Well, time, of course, is the biggest challenge. For most people, the idea of being part of anything new is an extra burden in an already busy schedule. I speak to women on a daily basis who say, I just don't have any time in the day spare. We're all busy and rushing around to scrape extra minutes out of the day. Why would you spend time being part of a revolution? It sounds like a heap of time that it's going to take you. Wrong. Time is just an excuse. Lack of time means I don't prioritize this, it isn't important enough, and I don't care enough about it. And that sounds tough, but it's true, and that's okay. I know this because I catch myself out doing it all the time, especially for things that I definitely don't want to do. I'm always never ever got enough time for things that I don't want to do. But tell me, if you were so busy today to make time for anything else, and I mean your day's jam-packed, you're slammed and you haven't got a minute spare, and then you get a call from your closest family member asking them to come and take you to hospital because something serious had happened, would you make the time? Of course you would. And why? Because you value and care for that close family member, because you love them and cherish them and they're important to you, yeah? Well, being part of the Rural Women's Revolution and sharing your wisdom, experience and ideas and promoting who you are and what you do with other rural women in the world is important. And if it's really important, you'll make the time for it. Besides, after I finish talking today, you'll realise that it's really easy and simple and not at all time-consuming. Another reason why you might not get involved in this revolution is because you're scared of failing. Scared of putting yourself out there or scared of being judged. We've all tried things before and failed or been criticised, and it doesn't feel good, does it? In my 14 years of business and community development, there's been plenty of failures, plenty of criticisms, and really lots of fear for sure. But I've never quit when it was worth keeping on. What I know is that you can go through life being scared of failing and never actually do something about it, or you can be unhealthy, have a mediocre career, not spend money fearing lack of results, or you can take action. You can be brave, you can take a step forward, you can get support, and you can step up. What I do know is that nothing is easy and that everything, including making change and learning new skills, takes work. If you're prepared to put in the work and the effort, then you'll be rewarded with success and achieving goals. And if you have a go at being part of the Rural Women's Revolution with the support and stepping outside of your comfort zone, you're almost guaranteed for success. The third reason why you might have hesitation in saying yes is being part of the revolution is that doubting voice in your head. I love this picture. It cracks me up. But you know, my words aren't good enough, I haven't got anything interesting to say, maybe people won't like what I write, I'm like a deer in the headlights and I just go blank when it comes time to doing this thing. All of these voices, believe me, I battle them all on a daily basis, with kindness for myself, of course. The truth is that everyone has something to offer that is of value to somebody else. Yes, you aren't always going to write, what you write isn't always going to please everyone, and not everyone is going to resonate with what you say. And at some point, we've just got to get over that. There will be plenty of other people who are out there cheering you on from the sidelines for having a go, or being touched, moved, or even having their lives changed from your words, your thoughts, perspectives, or learnings. You will never know that, and you will never change or help those people if you don't do it though. I remember when I first started blogging, I was thinking, boy, who will even want to read this? And even more, like, what have I got to say that matters to anyone? And what has happened during the past few years is that over many years and many different blogs, I've had so many emails and messages from people saying, that was just what I needed to hear. Thank you. That video changed my life. Your words have resonated with me deeply. Thank you so much for sending that through, because it really got me going and motivated. And, I love it. Thank you so much. Wow, like the baby in the picture. Wow. If you want to change the world, you have to first change yourself. And in this instance, it's about connecting to the fear, embracing it, and telling the voices in your head to get out of the way, because you're on a mission and you're part of a revolution to make a difference. You know the saying, when life hands you lemons, make lemonade? I love that saying, and I try and live by it every single day. So for those of you who don't know me, my name is Rebel Black. I'm an entrepreneur, a wellbeing and business advisor and consultant, lover of physically demanding outside work, and self-confessed foodie. My passion is working with entrepreneurial rural women and empowering them to become the incredible, world-changing leaders they were born to be, and helping them rediscover the fun in having a healthy, inspiring, financially rewarding businesses and careers. This is a picture of me with our hand-built wood-fired pizza oven on its first ever firing. It's made of cob. It was a labour of love. It was about 5 years in the planning, because my husband likes to get things right, and it took us about 12 months in the making. And that was basically me just cracking it one day and starting the process, and just getting it started, which is what I'm really good at. Some things are just worth waiting and working hard for, aren't they? Anyway, I digress. So when did you know you were going to be a leader in your community? For me, I was in year 4. I decided that I was going to save the koalas. I don't actually remember seeing or having much to do with koalas up to that point, apart from the fact that we would have spent many hours craning our necks in the treetops in the Warrumbungles on school excursions, trying to catch glimpses of the elusive creatures. But what I do remember is that the Save the Koala people must have had an ad or something that piqued my curiosity and inspired me to take action. I decided I would run a colouring in competition to raise the much needed cash required to save all of the koalas. It's a great plan. Now, I'm not that old, but I am old enough to remember having lived in the days before Google and the internet. So I researched enough somehow without Google to find out who I should write to at the Save the Koala Foundation, and they post telling them of my grand ambitions to save all of the koalas with my colouring in competition. And they posted me back some templates and some cool prizes. They were stickers. The details are a bit sketchy at this point, but what I do remember is sitting with one of my recruited helpers, judging the competition in a shelter shed at lunchtime in the rain. We raised $36.75 to send to the Save the Koala Foundation. Now, pretty sure that wasn't going to save all the koalas, but it wasn't bad when we were charging just 10 cents an entry. I felt pretty chuffed handing out those prizes from the dais in front of the whole school, and I knew that this was just the beginning for me of great things to come, like empowering people to save the world and stuff. Just a note, those Save the Koala people wrote me a letter which I kept in my CV for years as a reminder to myself that even the small contributions are valuable. And it's sometimes, from the receiver's end, it's the little things that count. Of course, there have been many morphosis since year 4, and I'm now entering my 4th business in 13 years, and I've had many interesting community development roles in that time also, as well as a couple of stints as a governess and a bar and restaurant and nightclub manager and a whole bunch of other fun things. For years, I thought success was defined by money, status, power, and location. And now what I've come to realize is that success is how you define it. For me, success in my businesses, life, and leadership roles is not about what other people think of it, but what I create it to be. Success is about how many people I can help, how many lives I can change, and how many new leaders I can empower. I am far more focused now on creating a business and a career that supports me in every way than worrying about what others might think of my business and whether it's successful on their terms or not. In 2002, I started my first business, and since then, and it was called Reb Solution, and since then we've had several others. We created an award-winning tourism restaurant on the Opal Fields at Lightning Ridge called Dig In. I created a leading health and wellness wellbeing site called I'm Not Fussy, and a Healthy Places, which is a social enterprise that empowers mentors right across Australia to teach healthy lifestyle, cooking and gardening skills to vulnerable people. We've also recently created the Hungry Spirit, which is an emerging multifaceted enterprise that empowers human connection to the community, culture, consumption and character whilst fostering entrepreneurship. In a nutshell, it's food, health, permaculture, community development and entrepreneur and leadership empowerment. And finally, the reason why you guys are all here today, what will become the world's leading platform for inspiring, connecting, empowering and educating rural women, the RW. Now, the RW stands for Thriving, Healthy, Entrepreneurial Rural Women. So I'm not 100 years old, I'm 35, and it's a lot to have achieved in a short time, but it is an evolution, and I find that that's what's most exciting. When I was 22, I had a mentor who I was sharing my fears with about going through my life never finishing things. I was so concerned that I was really great at starting stuff and visioning it and making it happen, but I would get bored and need to move on. And he said to me, Rebel, that's not failure, that's success. You're simply playing to your strengths so that someone else can play to theirs. This was such a relief for me to hear, and ever since then, I've tried to remind myself of that. That is where sharing your wisdom in a strategic, smart and deliberate way is a really valuable proposition for the world. It passes on your knowledge, and it allows others to find their light to shine. Being a leader isn't easy, but it is worth it every single day, knowing you are making a difference in someone's life. Knowing you're doing it in your way, on your terms, and in your own power is really liberating. So I know what I'm born to do, and I hope that you do too. So, what is the Rural Women's Revolution, or the RW? You can check out the website at www.therw.biz. You guys are getting in early for a sneak peek. It is live, and you can see it's live. We've still got a bit of content to add into early June for our June membership, but there are some already really great articles up there, so go and check that out once the webinar's over. So I've been involved in rural community development my whole life, and have been an active participant in the conversation about advancing rural communities and particularly rural women for at least the last 15 years. I was a board member of the New South Wales Rural Women's State Advisory Committee before it became the Rural Women Connect, and I'm a past member of a local women's group who provided housing and support for women in crisis and survivors of domestic abuse and homelessness. I've seen firsthand the impacts of real, genuine empowerment for rural women and the impact that that can have in the advancement and growth of communities. And I've seen that in all parts of the world and in lots of parts of Australia. And through my work as a wellbeing and business advisor and consultant, I've seen the massive impact empowering rural women can have in supporting creating thriving, healthy communities. I believe that if we empower people first, if we empower communities, and I just get so tired of hearing politicians and bureaucrats talk about programs and policies when we should really be talking about investing in people. So as an entrepreneur, I decided to take action. I was actually kind of kick-started into action after a couple of things happened. One, I had a bloke in Sydney at a conference say to me, gee, it must be really hard to work with rural people because they're just a little bit slower than everybody else. And that really, really annoyed me. And of course, I was mortally offended and told him so on behalf of every single person who's ever lived in a rural community anywhere in the world. But then I stopped to think, well, actually, that's the myth that rural people allow to be perpetuated into the mainstream media. And if we don't take responsibility and ownership for that, then how can we expect other people to see us in any other light? And then the second thing that happened was that I saw the misrepresentation of rural women in the mainstream media, online, in the TV and in newspapers over a period of a few days, and it drove me nuts. And again, I was really annoyed. And I thought to myself, Rebel, you can either be really annoyed at this forever or you can do something about it. And so I launched the RW. I wanted to create a platform where rural women can have their voice heard, where we can become the go-to place for the media so that we're getting the real, genuine, positive, amazing stories out there about what's going on for rural women, by rural women in rural communities. And so there we are. The RW, the Rural Women's Revolution, was born. So the RW will become, as I said, the world's leading provider of motivation, inspiration, empowerment and education for entrepreneurial rural women. Now, when I say entrepreneurial, I mean women who are out in the communities, they're in the trenches, they're making a difference, they're contributing, they're wanting to make a real commitment and a contribution to their community, to the world at large, to whatever's going on. So I don't mean only business people, I mean people that are working in government, people that are in their own businesses, employees in different locations, rural women who are on farms, in towns, in bigger population centres that are considered rural, regional or remote, women who relate to rural women, but it's women who are go-getters. You know, I really want to empower the go-getters in our community, and so that's who the RW is really focused on. So the RW will have online and offline platforms. The website is going to be content rich. Of course, we're just starting out, so it's not full yet, but there are some great articles already up there. Thank you to those people who have already contributed. It's going to have musings, writings, videos, graphic descriptions, as well as how-tos, what-to-dos, free downloadable tools and resources made by women just like you from all over the world, freely shared and accessible. The site will provide a launch pad for you, for your brand, for your product, for your issue, for your community. When we launched I'm Not Fussy back in 2010, I didn't realise what an impact an online platform could have for people's careers. But that site, over several years, has helped several health and wellbeing gurus rocket their careers, including authors and highly sought-after speakers and people in their own private practices. People like Lee Holmes of Supercharged Food and Lola Berry, both of whom are regular appearers on TV. They both started their career with articles and recipes contributed to I'm Not Fussy, which they were able to use as, proof of popularity, proof of evidence of kind of being out there in the world and online, and that they were able to direct traffic to as well, as they were, growing their own profiles and businesses. There's real power in contributing to something that has a global reach. And we plan to do just the same for the RW. So the RW will also become the place where the mainstream media comes to for comment on rural issues from you or our contributors. It will be a place where people come to for stories, for speakers, for people to contribute to articles, to the conversation generally, and to conferences and all sorts of things that are going on around the place that require and need a rural women's voice. The RW will be your voice. It will be a platform where rural women's issues are aired, where they gain traction, where change is influenced from. It will be loud and proud and really, really effective. The RW will become the platform that rural women go to for fun, inspiration, and to join the conversation about everything from agriculture to social issues to food, travel, fashion, and motivation and mindset reboot. The RW will be your platform, written by you for people like you. Isn't that exciting? I reckon it is. We'll also host monthly free live webinars with special guests, entrepreneurial rural women or women who work with rural women, sharing their wisdom and practical, immediately implementable and completely useful advice and support. No crap webinars, absolutely tangible things that rural women will be able to go away and implement straight away to make a difference in their life or business or whatever it is that they're doing in their community space. So you guys are getting the first to see in the world our very first June webinar, which you can see will be held on Monday the 30th of June at 12 noon. We're going to have Zoe Lamont from the 10,000 Girl campaign live online speaking with me about simple wealth creation for rural women. Again, Zoe is very passionate about empowering rural women with tangible tools that they can use in their life and in their businesses practically. So that webinar is going to be an hour and a half of huge value and amazing power for wealth creation. So I encourage you to check out the URL there at the bottom of that page, get it down and absolutely get it into your diary and make sure you register so you can secure your place. It will be a very hotly sought after webinar, that's for sure. So we're going to do that once a month. Later in the year, we're also going to be launching several academies and mastermind groups that will provide the opportunity for women to connect. It'll be to support each other and learn from the best people in the industry. In 2015, we will launch several live events where we'll draw on the significant expertise and insights of rural women to share with others specific learnings and, again, immediately implementable practical learnings. We are going to get the best of the best in the world on stages all over the world, eventually, starting in Australia, connecting rural women with other rural women, with each other, with amazing content that's going to change their lives forever. So I've got big plans for amazing rural women's leadership and travel adventures and a whole bunch of other things that are really big and really amazing. But mostly, if I can be really vulnerable with you right now, I have the big, hairy, audacious goal to reach and positively impact 1 million rural women using the RW as a vehicle. And in turn, I want to connect you to 1 million rural women too. How insane is that? So, why would you get involved? Well, you might get involved to be part of something extraordinary. You might want to get involved because you'd like to position yourself in a certain space. You want to get your message out. You would like to speak to the rooftops about something that drives you insane. You want to challenge people and you want a platform to be able to do that. You'd like to expand your reach. You'd like to be part of something really amazing. You want to leverage a massive growing community and use an online platform that can provide you with that leverage. Maybe you'd like your contribution to maximize your own credibility, and like people have done with our previous websites like I'm Not Fussy, to be able to use it to launch your own careers. Maybe you want to challenge yourself and just step outside your comfort zone and do something completely different. I know one of our contributors is already doing that in a big way. She's actually from New Zealand, and she's started a blog, and she's really committing to herself to write about things that she cares about and is passionate about, which is completely outside her comfort zone and really pushing some fear buttons for her, but she's doing it anyway. So maybe that's why you'd want to get involved. Maybe you just want to make a difference. Maybe you just want to give back. I mean, of course, when you give back, you always get things that you expect and plenty more amazing things in return as well. Maybe you want to hone in on your writing skills. Maybe you'd like to just build some deliberate strategic habits into your life about contributing to something regularly on a monthly basis. Maybe you've got burning desires that you want to get out into the marketplace and you don't really have a platform to do that yet. Whatever it is, you're going to find your why. Maybe it's on that list, maybe it's not. But I would love for you to join me in this crazy, amazing, exciting journey. So, how do you get involved? Now, this is the nuts and bolts. Again, I like to keep things really simple, and I've invested a lot of energy, time and cash into building some systems that sit behind this that are going to make it easier and easier as we work together. So the way that you get involved is that you decide that you're going to do it. You check your email inbox for contributor details and the 2014-15 content plan. That should have come out to you even before this webinar. I hope it did. If it didn't, please let me know and I will make sure I get it to you. Then I want you to pencil in some time in your diary to write or create your contribution each month. The size and the scale and what you can send to me is all in the details in your email. The deadline for each of the contributions is the 20th of the month before. So for example, it would be the 20th of June for July content. So you would be looking at the July theme and writing for that, but getting it to me by the 20th of June. You get your creations to rebel@thehungryspirit.com before the deadline. We get them up online, and Bob's your uncle, you're out into the world. We'll also be sending you reminders to be sharing your links and getting things out there to your people so that you can promote the RW and your contribution to the RW through your own community and networks. Of course, we want to share your stories near and far once they're published, and you can do that. We'll be doing it, but we'd love for you to be doing it as well. And of course, like I say to everybody that I work with as a client, get excited. This is like awesome, and we're just at the beginning of the journey. We've already had over 20 people commit to writing for this blog, and I put it out there 3 weeks ago. So this is really gathering momentum, and I'd love for you to be involved. So please, the first step is make a decision that you're going to do it. So some questions that you might have are, is it open to everyone? Well, yes, the answer is yes and no. So it is open to everyone who'd like to contribute. Obviously, I have a passion for empowering rural women. That doesn't mean that there aren't men out there that can contribute to this site that have really great things to say. My preference is to be working with women, and that's simply because I think women communicate differently, and I think it creates a space that's very sacred for us, and that's important for me, and I hope that's important to you. Now, the other question that usually comes from that is, do we have to live rurally? Do you have to be a rural woman by geographic definition? That is, that you live in a rural, regional or a remote location? The answer to that is no. My caveat is that I really want people to hear the voice of people who understand rural women. So if you grew up on a farm but you now live in the city, or you grew up in a rural, regional or remote community and now live in the city, of course you have it in your bones and in your blood, and we would love to hear from you, or people that you might know as well. Perhaps you live in a city but you have predominant, or most of your client bases are from a rural, regional or a remote location, so you really understand the mindset of rural, regional and remote people, and women in particular. So it's not closed. I guess the second question that people ask is, who is the audience I should write for? And that's the biggest thing, is that we will be targeting quite strategically and specifically in our marketing rural women, so women who identify as rural, regional or remote, and so that's who your audience should be. So if you relate to those people, then that's who you're going to be writing for, and that we would be wanting contributions from people who are able to connect with that audience. What should I write about? Well, that's a great question. So Every month, and again, this will be in your inbox, we have created a theme for the website. So that's really just to help us make sure that we're being really streamlined about what we're doing, but it's also going to help you in coming up with ideas for new content so that you're not having to pluck stuff up or make it up as you go. So we've got the theme there, but what I do want to say is we also have several topics, and you would have seen that in the when you go to the website, you'll see a menu there with a whole range of different sort of subject headings or topic areas. So if you want to write on a topic area that doesn't necessarily relate to the theme for the month, that's great too. What we like to do is try and tag our articles in a few different topic areas so that they can appear on different pages. It gets you more exposure. It builds the content for the site. It helps with, driving traffic and all of those sorts of things. So if you can write on a particular topic that also relates to the theme, then that's going to be really useful as well. But essentially, the best advice I can give you about what to write about is write about what's important to you. And that should go without saying for anything. If you're blogging, if you're writing PR, for, public relations for your company, you want to write about things that are important to you and that you connect with. And the reason for that is that your writing will be so much more easy to read, or your video content will be as well, because people will sense your passion, and it will be easier because it will take you less time because it's at the top of your mind. So if you come to the week before the 20th and you still haven't written anything yet, choose something that's topical in the media at the time. Write something that's kind of really irritated you or that you've been really pleased about, and share that sort of thing. Like I said earlier, your words, your ideas, your thoughts are always going to resonate with somebody. So write about what's important to you, because what's important to you will also be important to other people. Do you have to contribute every month? The short answer to that is no. You can contribute on a less than monthly basis if you would like to. We'd love for people to be contributing to this on a regular basis, just to keep consistency. But if you can only commit to writing every couple of months or once every 3 or 4 months, that's absolutely fine for me as well. Does it cost me to be involved? No. It doesn't. There are going to be, as the site evolves, there are going to be opportunities for people to be involved in paid masterminds, in paid events, in download paid online programs. For you as a contributor, it doesn't cost you anything to be involved, to have your content on the site whatsoever. So consider it a bit of a free plug. Every time you write an article, your author box will appear at the bottom of it with your website details, your social media contacts, and so it's a great PR exercise and promotional tool for you as well. It doesn't cost you anything but your time to be part of it. Another question is, can I get my friends, family and community involved? Well, that's a great question. And of course, we want as many people contributing to this site as we possibly can, because we want it to make a difference. And the best way to make a difference is provide really useful, really rich, really relevant content. And of course, your friends, family and community will probably have something really valuable to add to the conversation as well. So if you want to do that, please share with them the video link for this webinar, or send them the link for the details to help other people, that they can register their interest in becoming a contributor, and I can get on the phone and chat to them. What if I'm not a good writer? Well, what I'll say about this is that everybody is a good writer. Some people are really polished writers and really excellent at it because they do it all the time. But everybody has a point of view and everybody has something valuable to say. Now, you might not say it in the, classiest way or the most polished way, but what you say, as long as it reflects you and your voice, it will be good writing. So often I try and encourage people just to write as if they're speaking, or to write as if it comes straight from their brain on onto the piece of paper or do a video the same way, rather than trying to, be all proper about it. I mean, the great thing about the online world is that a lot of those barriers around writing and having to write in a particular way have just been smashed. And I love that, because it means that you get a real variety of information in a variety of voices. And that's gorgeous. It's so much better than just only ever being able to read a magazine or a newspaper, or only ever hearing the news and the 6 seconds or 10 seconds to tell a story. So everybody's a good writer. I really want you to try and encourage yourself to believe that and just have a crack and give it a go. Can I submit pictures or videos? Absolutely yes. We want the content on this site to be deliciously creative, innovative, new, fresh, accessible. So pictures, videos, short articles, longer articles with, interesting other references, all of that is fantastic. So the details of how we need things sent to us are included in your email. So check those out. And those are all really great questions, and I hope they've answered some of the questions you might have had. So, what happens next? Well, if you haven't already registered as a contributor, please enter your details into the URL that's there. It's a little bit of a tricky one, but I will also paste it in the email below, in the email that this video comes in, so you can go back and check it out there as well. That might be quicker and easier. Or you can email me at rebel@thehungryspirit.com, so with your phone number and your name, so that we can have a conversation about you becoming a contributor. You can, if you've already joined as a contributor, thank you so much and welcome, and I can't wait to receive your first contribution. Now, we will be taking contributions for June right up until the middle of June, because of course we only started the conversation about this in early May, and it's not really been enough time for people to get things to me. So if you decide that you'd really like to put something through for June, then please email it through to me. I'm happy to take it. The theme for June is wealth. That could be monetary wealth, environmental wealth, human wealth, people wealth, abundance wealth, whatever it is, your take on wealth. The next thing you need to do is like the page on Facebook, and then of course it goes without saying, share it with your family, friends and your community as well. The more likes we can build there, the better. Check out the website and tell everybody you know to do that as well. And then, of course, register for the June webinar with our super smart, financially savvy Zoe Lamont. I'm super excited to be having Zoe on our first ever webinar. She's a gorgeous woman. She's lots of fun to chat to, and she's going to give really fantastic, delicious, juicy, amazing wealth content. So make sure you check that out and get onto it. So it's been really awesome today, guys. Thank you so much for joining me and for hanging out with me for this long. I really hope that to see you, your name appear in my system, so that we can have a conversation about you joining as a contributor. I would love for you to pass on the details to anybody you think would be interested or could contribute something of value. And I look forward to seeing you at the Raw Women on Facebook and online at www.therw.biz. Lots of love, guys. Bye.